Hello, hello! Welcome back to Wheel of Games, where today I'm going to be playing The Pale Beyond. This is a game that I've had my eye on for quite a while. It's a sort of exploration type game where you're making difficult choices to survive. From what I understand, you're a senior leadership position in a voyage towards magnetic south. I think this is like the British naval age of exploration where they're trying to chart all the different passages and explore the world. And the premise of the game is that you are, I think, first mate, or at least a very high-ranking officer on the expedition, and your expedition is to both find magnetic south and also find the previous expedition that did not return that had the same original goal. Either finding the location or charting magnetic south, something to that effect. I haven't played a lot of the game. I've just first 15 minutes or so, so I'm not entirely certain what all of the story aspects are going to be. But we can definitely expect resource management, time management, and difficult decisions to try to stay alive. Um, Definitely from pictures of the game, there's lots of themes of ice. I'm almost certain at some point we will get iced in and have to survive for a while. Something that this game really reminded me of was when I read the book called The Terror, which was based on the Franklin expedition. The Franklin expedition being a real life thing, where they were trying to find the Northwest Passage, basically a naval route around the north side of North America. And the Franklin expedition was a famous disaster. It was two ships, and essentially everyone was lost. And there were a lot of different stories written about it. They've just recently actually found the second ship, so they've been trying to get some exploration and archaeological dig it up and find out what happened. The Terror sort of put a supernatural explanation towards the things that happened. I have no idea if this game is going to go supernatural or not, which is nice. I don't know what's going to come up. But in the story of the Terror, they basically posited that a Native American, basically a spirit, uh, has its territory north of a certain latitude, and anyone who goes north of that point is basically free food for it. So it took the form of a giant polar bear and was harassing the people as they were trapped into the ice. And as they left, it was hunting them down. So no idea if anything like that's going to happen here. Uh, Definitely with this, like the story of that, it started bleak and got really bleaker as it went on. I have no idea if this game is going to go as far as topics like cannibalism or not, but there's definitely the possibility that it might go to dark places. I'm not sure what to expect, so that's, I guess, my only potential content warning on this before we get in. My previous thing had gone up to week 3, but I want to start a new expedition. On normal. Let's go. Oh yeah, the guy in the middle is the one who's on all the the art for the box and stuff. But these are all important people we'll get to know soon, I hope. We get to write the song as it begins. Oh, the air bees cold of flake and white, as a sailor begs their pledge. Find leads to the ice, stake a claim out in the ice, or that we will be strong in the dark. Interesting. This could be a gameplay thing way in the end, but let's try to get out of the ice. I suppose this is our different survival, like how we intend to survive. Brace ourselves in the dark, try to find a way out. Not sure what that one means. Basically, I feel like this one, if we're trying to find the magnetic south or something, we're going to stake our claim out there. We'll stake a claim and carve a course ahead. Homes they'll dream. Oh, we don't want to focus on the homes. We're going to be out there for a while. Let's see. I suppose we're also, at this point, sort of writing the character that we want to make. So this person we've started, they want to stake a claim, glory. So we are starting to play a glory-obsessed character. Of glory found and forged in frost, so that their tale be spread. Hunger draws the desperate here. Well, I don't want to sow dispread. I guess that sort of implies we'll be very, very hungry. And this one in the middle, such lonely souls need leading. That sounds like our guy trying to be a leader. What will ye do when steel hearts break and courage does abscond? I'll lead these souls. Oh, interesting. Learn to live a life out there. Maybe there actually is a ending where you stay out on the ice. But we've been dealing with trying to make our leadership character. I'll lead these souls, so help the gods, out of the pale beyond. Okay, now we've written our poem to start the game. I think all those numbers that flashed up at the beginning was like setting everything back to the starting point. Like resources and stuff. I think that only happened because I deleted a older save file. Okay. Crew wanted. Able-bodied crew wanted for dangerous expedition. Months of darkness, low wages, slim chance of safe return, but glory to be had in the event of success. Address overleaf. Metronome, you're alone in the office. The tea in your hand has long since gone cold. Well, I think we're going to have to learn to be content with cold tea, so we are okay with that. Looking around the room, you can make out a collection of military books. On the desk is a ship in a bottle. The metronome ticks away steadily. Does the ticking bother you? Or is it calming? I think it's harmless might be the safest option if we're trying to choose personality traits. Something that's, something basically like superstition. We are not a character who is going to be bothered by, the repetitive noise. Maybe the calming, but it's harmless. Simple reminder of the time you've spent waiting. We're waiting. The metronome stops. Keep waiting. You hear footsteps climbing the stairs that brought you here. So we are currently standing. We could take a seat, but if we've been standing for a while, perhaps there was a reason. Let's continue to do so. The door behind you swings open. The captain bounds past you to the other side of the desk. Do you have all of your teeth? Well, we don't want to be thrown by his question. We want to be adaptable. Let's just show him. Good. You never be too careful. So this character is the captain. He was front and center. Makes sense. I thought maybe this would be our character, but nope, he's the captain, which means we are not the captain. It's the little things you can lose people to, such as scurvy. Yep, well, we don't want to start criticizing the captain straight off, so let's make some small talk. Oh, our name is Shaw. Okay, almost missed that. How many people have died under your supervision? So it looks like we get to choose this, and I don't think we want to be a... So is it better if no one has died, or is it better if we've had several die, but we have experience with men dying? It's like, well, if there were a few, but I don't want to go with the third option. So let's see, we are very proud, we are glory-seeking, we think we're the best, no one has died, and we think that's a good thing. Shaw, none. meaning you're either perfect for the job, a liar, or you've never been in command. Interesting. Well, if I was a liar, maybe I would be in this room. I don't really know the answer to that one. Oh, my little portrait's kind of in the way. I'll drop that down. So this means I've never been in command. I guess that's the better one. So we are I suppose, a fresher face. Command tests a person's mettle. Do you think you're ready? Yes, I do. I don't even have to think about that one. Please take a seat. Oh, looks like the bottom option has been belligerent quite a bit. But we are polite. Thank you. The chair is uncomfortably large. The seat feels worn. He's got a pipe. I'm Captain Hunt. Ah, the pleasure is mine, Robin Shaw. He nods. Take the initiative about asking. We can ask which ship. I think that's a reasonable small talk thing. So this is a how prim and proper do we want to be? I assume that we are English, some type of officer, or at least a young officer candidate. So that one seems a little bit rude. This one seems off topic, which we're here about the job, not to question about the ships. We would do this one later. I hope you weren't waiting too long. This time, the third option is a good one. I'll just stay off. I'm told it's worth the wait. Good. There's been a lot of candidates. Some good, some bad. Interesting mix. I'm sure you understand the need for discretion. Well, we've read the advert earlier. There's glory. That's definitely what we are interested in. Convoluted for a sailing job. The last time we kept listening, but we are a glory seeker. There was glory to be had. Months of darkness, low wages, slim chance of safe return. That didn't deter you, did it? Quite the opposite. Well, we're not here for death, we're here for glory. It's to be expected. I thought it blunt, but has proven remarkable at weeding out the weak and the pretend. I have a few questions first. Were you born a landlubber or sea dog? Ah, so now this looks very much like we're picking, especially with these symbols, it tells us like we're picking our background here. Born a sea dog? So I suppose if we're born from the ocean, I think that makes sense for our naval officer. Or have we been all over? See, the most proper thing would be from the city, but we're a glory seeker? I don't think we really know. Well, maybe we can get more details first. Oh, okay, they're giving us an explanation. It was born and raised within imperial society. Raised in the colonial cities, landborn appropriately spend much of their life and work within those cities. While it isn't unheard of, those who find themselves working at sea are rarely tasked with manual labor. Saltborn are the sons and daughters of the sea, a solitary culture of sailors and whalers. The saltborn are rarely away from the open waters. The vast majority of sailing crews are made up of their ranks, though few are found in the position of officer. And Mutwash prove harder to place, a mix of salt and earth in their upbringing. They tend to live as drifters, rarely belonging to any one group. As such, they tend to be well-traveled and well-experienced, but struggle to find acceptance and belonging. Oh, I like that it changes the way he talks, same as yourself. Versus, I'm from the city. Oh, this is a tough one. I feel like the better options would be Saltborn to get along with the crew, but I'm not min-maxing this. We're trying to play a character here, so I'm gonna go with the Landborn, even though I feel like that would be the more welcoming story. But I can always play this again later. But made my way to sea eventually. Military experience? Ah, us being a glory seeker doesn't make sense for us to have been a criminal. Sailed the merchant lines for 12 years. That also makes a good amount of sense. But us being the whole glory seeking thing, but we've never had a command. I still feel like this sort of makes sense for us. Never command, though. Under what circumstances did you leave? I like the in one piece. Not desertion, we're a glory seeker, but not although if we're all about glory, then honorably would make sense. We're trying to make a name for ourselves, so we want a good name, which means we care about honor. We've no stewards to wipe your arse out here. You best get used to doing that yourself. Have you ever fired a weapon? Yes, if we're in the Admiralty, absolutely. Have you ever killed a man, directly or otherwise? I'm pretty sure the answer to that has to be yes. In the Colonial Admiralty. You're not married, are you? Interesting. Glory-seeking Admiralty. Ooh. I don't know if officers tend to be married. I know in like Return of the Obra Dinn, his wife was a passenger aboard the ship with him, but not the case for any of the first officers or anything like that. So I don't think we're high enough rank. Like we're relatively young enough to not have had time to, especially if we haven't had a command before, that we are not well established enough to have made a profitable marriage. So we'll go with that one. Better not have a death wish. One must believe they'll return to justify leaving in the first place. We want to make a name for ourselves. Well, number 2 is rude. Number 3, I think we'll get to pretty soon. We're here to find the ship in that bottle. Ah, the Viscount. Heard of it? Oh, interesting. This definitely implies that we have heard of it. We probably should have heard of it if we're in the Admiralty. And only because I've played this much of the game before do I know what that means. But interesting. Are we disbelieving? I think respectful yes is the right answer here. Yep, this was as much as I've been able to describe so far. So there was a government vessel to find magnetic south. You have a good memory for a soldier. Aye, 'twas. It's a bit late for a rescue operation. This is beginning to sound like a suicide mission. We're supposed to be. Well, I think the first one is appropriate. It's a bit late for a rescue operation. They're probably dead. Alive or not, their research is supposedly of extreme importance. Okay, chasing sort of implies that we're not fully believing in it, or we think it's a silly idea. You have my attention, sir. Here's what we do know. Not one person or thing has been heard from the Viscount since it first left port. Until now? Yeah, they're definitely all dead. But that's a little more disbelieving as well. We are not a supernatural. So, what have we found? Until now. Someone was found who claims to have been on that ship. They're probably lying. Where are they now? Dead. But their testimony seems to have outlived them. Those with more money than sense want that old ship. That's the job. If I don't pick the first mate, somebody else will, and, well, my judge of character's gotten me this far, with a wink. So now, questions we get to ask. Our crew, our ship. Who's financing it? Basically, this is Who is it that thinks this is so important? The usual. Film and lecture rights have been sold, of course. We're in the process of signing off on a final benefactor for the expedition. They've even donated a ship. We'll be traveling on board the Temperance. She's a beauty, Greenwood, generational. Not many like it left these days. The Viscount and the Temperance. They're sister ships. This is more parallels back to the Franklin expedition thing. The sister ships, well, they were sister ships in the sense of how they were modified to deal with the ice and the cold. Built together. Sent out into this world to die alone. A superstition gets people killed. So does cynicism. Your faith in your friends is yours. Captain looks at the bottled ship. So what do you think? Let's see. It's worth it if there's a chance anyone's alive. Sounds like you need all the help you can get, or it's not that much to go on. Basically, the word of someone who is already dead that we can't talk to. That's a tough one. So are we a character who cares more about rescuing people? That one's still extra cynical. I think the third one matches us. It's not much to go on. No, it isn't. The captain checks his watch. Anyway, I think I've heard enough. The captain stands up. We leave in a month. Welcome aboard, Shaw. Proverbially speaking. Let's see. Don't you need more information? Not if I'm a captain worth his salt. I work with people, not professions. I'd sooner trust a good carpenter than a cruel sailor to save me from drowning. But alas, I'll see you on the Temperance. He makes his way to the door, and you follow. You arrive at the docks a month to the day. A lot of this first episode is going to be meeting everyone. Before you lies a ship. The letters on its side read Temperance. Ah, okay. So I can't move anything around. So we're interacting with bubbles. You walk the cobble to the boarding ramp. Beside is a sharply dressed man overseeing the loading of cargo. So we are the first mate under the captain, so we've got a lot of authority. Oh, so does he, apparently. He turns to you with a stern expression. You can feel his eyes assessing you. So our background's coming into play here. A military gate. You must be Hunt's pick for first mate. I figured he'd keep it in the ranks. Good man. So this guy likes that stuff. I'm not sure if that's a medal or just another button on his jacket there, but that one's a bit off to the side. He extends an arm. Richard Templeton, a pleasure. Well, he's basically our kind of guy, so you accept his handshake. It's a considered shake. I shall be operating as the chief science officer on this expedition. We are trying to find Magnetic South, after all. I am also the incumbent representative of our benefactor. Do, however, consider myself and my team at you and the captain's disposal. I'm fairly certain we're all disposable. That's the super cynical one. I think I'm going to have to find another spot to put my camera. Maybe the upper right? Well, let's try something. Okay, I'm going to be up here in the top corner this time, because they keep putting all the text down on the bottom. So, we are curious about him. We want to talk and find out what he is, because he's a science man. Applied botany. That's reassuring. I want to click this button, but what our character would say is it's nice to be working together. I expect you to be up for the task. Some of the layabouts Hunt hired are questionable at best, so there's rifts in the crew. No doubt I needn't inform you of your duties. You're second only to Captain Hunt himself, though I must warn you that you have quite the task ahead. The rabble I've spent the afternoon sorting are the same that you'll have to whip into shape. Punctuality, schedule, a strict adherence is what we need if this expedition is to succeed. I expect you to be the organized sort. You would not have been assigned the role otherwise. Ah, now our figures moved up to that corner, and all of a sudden, another thing has popped up. Okay, I've got one more corner to try to hope I'm not directly in the path of everything. So it appears that things go by weeks. I'm not sure if we'll have like morning. It looks like we've got morning, day, night. So maybe we'll just have the whole thing abstracted into a week, and we've got the temperature. Okay. The organized sort. Sea folk are known to be unruly. I'll do my best to keep them in line. Well, we are more likely to have more in common with this friend. That's technically true, but I have more than enough experience with a crew of this nature. He is nice and diplomatic and should please him. That is comforting to hear. It would seem for most of the crew the captain favored personal history over expertise. It is good to know he found the capable sort for such a vital role. Let me know when you're ready to depart. Make sure to savor these last moments on land. The less valuable time we waste here, the better. It looks like these are things we can look at. Because we're not leaving. You'll be gone for quite a while. It'll be some time before you see the city again. The young man stands at the ramp, steeling himself for the journey ahead. Drags his feet up the ramp and onto the ship. I wonder if he wouldn't have gone on if we hadn't taken a look. Hunt's description of the ship was accurate. Oh, we've got a Finn Leviathan. We got a Nessie on the front. Oh, and our little landing ships also have that little head on the front. Neat. Near identical to the Viscount, barring some modern additions. I can see there's a big smokestack in the middle, too. Time to go. Week 1 on the Temperance. Of course I'm in the way again. Dun, dun, dun. I'll just keep moving around as much as I have to. Let's see our rudder down there. Saved game to tree. It's been a month. Oh, yeah, that's the poem we had in the beginning. First Mate Shaw, personal log. It's been 1 month since I signed on, and 1 week since we've set sail aboard the Temperance. I'm told the waters will get warmer as we pass the hemisphere before they turn colder. Maybe it's not explicitly Britain. It did say the Empire. Who knows? So what are we thinking on? Captain, are we still dwelling on who's paying for it? That might affect our glory, or the ship itself. The Admiralty had nothing like this. Magnificent, seaworthy, or abomination. Let's say we like the ship. A technical marvel, elegant machinery expertly weaved through one of the fastest hardwood ships of its day. Reborn for this mission, breathing again with life. She's simply magnificent. Okay, good. Yep, I'm not covering the text. Ah, yeah, let's talk as much as we can since it's only to ourselves, unless someone finds the log later. I can't help but wonder who's footing the bill for all this. Certainly not the captain. Such exquisite modifications to the ship mustn't have come cheap. I intend to investigate further. Now for the captain. As for its master, he's mostly kept to his quarters so far. I feel like we can trust him. He's definitely the sort that is relying on people and has apparently a very good judge of character. So we should trust him. Then again, we don't even know who the benefactors are, so maybe there's a secret tertiary mission that's hidden that we don't know about, that he probably does. So yeah, we don't really know that much about him yet, although in-game it's been a month. Although the captain's kept to his quarters, and if we don't know him that much yet, rumors. Well, us as the players don't know what the rumors are. Maybe this will tell us something. I don't think he's telling the whole truth. Mostly that he hasn't told us who is drinking, desertion. There's probably a good reason he's dressed in antiques. But perhaps I'm too quick to judge. As for the rest of the crew, there are now 22 of us, including the captain. Our next port will be our last before we enter the ice to pick up the remaining 4 members of the crew, the scouting team. Hunt is also keen to work out a deal on a pack of sledding dogs. They're strange. I've sailed with worse, or they smell terrible. I've sailed with worse. The Admiralty had its rot, just like anywhere else. One of the sailors approaches. This is Joe. Captain wants you at the helm. I'll head there now. We don't need to question for him, he wouldn't know anyway. And he leaves. So now we can look at all these different things. I don't know if we will suffer in any way from not talking to him immediately. I imagine we'll get a chance to look around the ship after this, so let's go right away. You ascend the stairs to the stern and find the old captain manning the helm of the ship. Robin, lovely day for it, isn't it? One of your lackeys summoned me? No, thank you. Don't you have someone to do that for you? Well, he said, don't make us wipe your arse. Oh, now I'm back out of the way again. It is indeed, Captain. Indeed. Days like these I make sure to do my share of the sailing. Why? Curious. Can't afford to go rusty in my old age. Never know when you're going to have to get your hands dirty. Makes sense. He thinks for a moment before stepping aside and stretching out a wrinkled hand. Did you ever take the helm in the Admiralty? Never felt right not to for me. Here, why don't you have a try? This is something we probably need to know. If there is a helmsman, we may lose them if we're very unlucky. You grip the wheel of the ship and feel the weight of the waves in your arms. This is a pretty tableau. Oh, okay, this is teaching us. So use the right mouse to search around, although you can't go that far from the ship. The memory in your muscles rear themselves as you begin to move in time with the ship and the wind. Easy. There, you have it. The captain pats you on the back. Fantastic. Now try to get a sense of where we are. Get some perspective. Okay, mouse wheel to zoom. But now I can't pull this far. So it's still the same overall image. Peaceful, isn't it? He takes the wheel back. I think I'll drink the morning in a little longer. Would you mind preparing my quarters for the day's work? There's much to do. So now it's saying the captain's cabin is the way to go. Oh, I see. It's the same controls to pan around the ship itself. The crow's nest currently stands unoccupied. The scouting team are expected to join at the next port. Let's see, the forecastle, or forecastle. It appears to be locked. Oh, nice. Well, not giving us much room to make mistakes, I suppose. This is the captain's cabin. Let's see, we can look around at this point. And one of the things that, like straight up on the store page, it says is the captain has disappeared. So I do like the captain, but it appears that he may not be around for very long. Though it doesn't say that he dies, so maybe he'll return, or he's on that secret mission that we don't know about. I honestly don't know. Classical painting depicting sailors doing battle with a kraken. Landborn. You're unsure if it's of any historical significance, though recognize the ship as the galleon of Captain Hamish. There's a tub, a pristine furnished tub secured to the floor, a luxury to be had on the ice. Desk. On the desk you make out a variety of papers, notes, and maps, as well as a sealed letter with a stamp you don't recognize. The desk itself is suspended with ropes to keep it safely in place. Oh, neat. The The desk is actually floating. Nope. Now it's time to take requests. Free bird! Okay, you take a seat at the end of the room. The captain joins you. Now, let's run through our provisions before taking requests. Oh, introducing us to the interface. To start, there's 23 souls signed on to this expedition, ourselves included. It said 22 a moment ago. That's 16 free to be assigned to tasks if they aren't already busy. The rest are deployed to their permanent stations. So, out of that 23, I guess there are 7 that have permanent stations. You are only able to deploy crew who you have discovered. They must be in good health and not otherwise deployed to another post. So we have to find our crew to be able to attach them to dispatch them to jobs. We'll be picking up the scouting crew at Nextport. A lot of us also seem to be in good spirits. 100 out of 100. The expedition will end tearing itself apart if you end the week with no decorum left. We have enough provisions for at least 6 months in case of emergency. Okay, so 24-ish weeks. If you cannot afford the minimum food rations at the end of a week, the crew will become malnourished. Unless cured, the malnourished status will develop into scurvy, a severe status effect that prevents them from working, eventually killing them at the end of a week. And more than enough fuel to see us there and back again. Colder temperatures will increase the minimum fuel required at the end of a week. If you cannot afford that minimum fuel, crew will become freezing. Unless cured, freezing status will develop into frostbite that prevents them from working, eventually killing them. The sledding dogs, well, they're still a matter of negotiation. Dogs will be needed to send sledding teams out to gather resources on the ice. Sounds essential to me. Sending hunts out further requires a greater amount of dogs. They will rest and become available between the weeks. Now, on to work. Okay, we've got 2 different people to talk to. 0 out of 14, because they're not on the ship yet. Who's Corvid? A sailor enters. We found a stowaway in the lower hold. Bring them in. Another sailor enters, leading a young man by their side. You know, you're not the first stowaway I've had. You know where we're heading, don't you? I do, sir. Named Runt. The ice. Did you know that before you climbed inside that crate? I did, sir. How old are you? You're hardly a useful pair of hands. Not true. I can pull my weight, sir. Do you know your jiboom from your bowsprit? I do. I learned it all from my da. Your da? He's Ward's son. Followed him on board back in the city. I think, yeah, if that's Corvid, then I guess we've got Papa Smurf, eh? Followed him on board back in the city. What should we do with him, Captain? Well, Shah? Hunt eyes you up. Your first mate, what should we do with him? Now, what can we do? We can keep them aboard. We can say he's not staying on board, and we can push the decision off on the captain. Well, I think the third option's not a good one. So he is the son of someone who's on the ship, so he will be with family, but also then again, we're going to extremely dangerous area. So this is really a, do we have this person on the crew or not? Now, maybe he could do tasks, so that would be another resource for us to bring with us. But also, this is putting someone in danger. And he apparently does know about sailing. That's a point in his favor, because he's also the family of someone who's on the ship. And I've played only slightly farther past this point, but the person he is a son of is a very important person on the ship, a very large, very strong man. That time I just said he's not staying on board, but what would our character do? We are a glory-seeking person. How sympathetic are we towards family? I really wish I could ask why he came on board, so that I would know if he's got the spirit for sailing, as it were. That's what I think our character would want. Oh, all that talk of proper and stuff, but we don't want to be a stiff upper lip, super proper person. We are a getting the job done person. So I think I admire the bravery of trying to get out there. Basically, he's trying to do what our character would have done, so maybe there's some compassion there. I think we're going to go with keep them aboard, which means we have a bit of a independent streak in our glory seeking, and we respect what this kid's trying to do. That's a good question. Why? You need all the help you can get? It would be wrong to separate them. We don't have time to accommodate this. I think the first option here is the closest to what we're trying to say. We're not doing this specifically for the family. It's more about he wants to help, so that rhymes the most. This man wants to help. I'd say we let him. All right, boy, consider yourself part of the crew. Be sure to keep your nose clean and follow orders. And now this is also something I don't know about, so it makes it more blind. I will. Thank you, sir. Captain, not sir. Aye, Captain. Stowaway joins the two sailors below deck, now a member of the crew. Well, it seems the litter has a new runt. I hope the rest won't mind sharing their rations. Oops, now we've got one more crew there. What of the father? What of the father? We haven't met the father here. Simple, split their pay and their rations. Any rations that one's a bad idea. I doubt he intended for this to happen. We'll keep an eye on them both. Yeah, the first option would make sense, except for the italics. We do care. We'll keep an eye on them both. I suppose you're right. Well, that matter's sorted. Now we've got Cordell. Click up there. Have you agreed on my conditions? To the point, eh? Shaw, this is Lady Cordell. Cordell here is to provide us with the kennel of hounds for the sleds. And our agreement was that she would train them up until we part ways at the nearest island, but you neglected to inform me that you were bringing my dogs through the Pale Passage. I had no intention of sending the pack to its death. You seem to have good faith in this expedition. It's one thing to ask for my whole kennel, it's another to drag them into the ice to chase a myth. I didn't think it had been that long since the other ship had gone. Never before has a buyer been so dishonest. And never before has a seller made such strong demands. Lady Cordell? Well, the third one is cruel. We do care about the dogs, and she's apparently the leader of the pack or the trainer, so let's not pick a fight. And I suppose we are a glory seeker, so we care about titles and such. Lady Cordell? A moniker given to me by the locals of the city, on account of her vernacular. I find it odd that you seem to have researched me as much as you have my kennel. I'd like to know who I'm negotiating with. Regardless, Shaw. She demands we allow her to come along on the expedition. I thought she already was. As a member of the crew. None on this ship have the experience and familiarity with these dogs that I possess. If you are taking them to such a brutal location, they will need me to guide them if they have any chance of survival. I'm on board with this. The humans on board too, of course. Yeah, we're gonna need these dogs to get us supplies. So, better to have their literal trainer with us than to hand them over. You can see my dilemma, Shaw. We've just accepted a stowaway. Bringing on another member of the crew is a risk, but our hands may be tied. I didn't know it was a choice. Maybe, if I knew she was coming with, maybe I would have switched it the other way. Well, I definitely want her to bring her with us, but how do we phrase it? If you're so adamant we accept your offer, perhaps that will make her happier than in saying I don't see the harm. That maybe sounds like we're discounting her expertise. And maybe she will be happy if she thinks that we are essentially giving in and letting her have her way. We accept your adamant offer. Oh. You aren't the captain, but you are right. Well, I thought you were literally giving us the decision. I doubt Lady Cordell is likely to give up in her demands. This deal is already to your benefit. Do you have anyone on board with extensive training in the management and ruling of dogs? Your sleds are useless if you can't control the dogs efficiently enough to haul them. And I would like to ensure my dogs are treated properly. Well, we're not picking a fight. Your knowledge should prove valuable. I hope you are as experienced as you claim. Invaluable. I'll have a room prepared for you. Below deck. Now we've got 25 people. No need, you'll find me in the forecastle with the dogs. She leaves. I hope I'm not making a mistake, Shaw. So do I. Now we've added 2 more people to this crew. Plus 14 available dogs. I guess we're at the island because we just picked up the dogs. Now that that's all settled, I have one more errand for you to run. Could you grab the Stoke brothers and order them to meet me up deck after dinner? Hefty lads, red hair, you couldn't mistake them for another. It's been a month, surely we would have met everyone already, but the game's going to make us talk to everyone, which is perfectly fine. The Stoke brothers, who are they? You haven't met all the crew yet? Right. The Stokes have been serving me for years. They'll be down on the middle deck. In the meantime, you should grab a copy of the crew manifest and get acquainted with more of the crew. After all, we can't dispatch them until we've met them. Now we get to explore the ship. And I think this is pretty much as far as I've gotten. So the captain's cabin is underneath the stern. Got the windows. We've got a couple of longboats that have these nice decorative heads on them. Oh, we got little waves and splashes. This is a very pretty home screen here for the outside. Join the figure balancing on the mast. Oh yeah, you can see. I'll zoom in. Yeah, there's someone up there on the mast. Upon closer inspection, you make out the ship's photographer, Kasha Belford, balancing on the ship's mast with her camera, lining up a photo. Let's see, so we're worried about her safety, definitely, but that yelling at her might make her fall. I don't want to cause the issue. Let her know we're there, or simply observe. I like to observe. I don't want to interrupt, although this is the kind of thing where it's better to reprimand after they're out of the danger. And I don't want to mess up until she's taken her photo. Snapping a shot, she clambers down, only noticing you on her landing. Oh, Officer Shaw. Yep, that's an old-timey camera. It's about time I met the first officer of this ship. Kasha Belford. Nice to meet you. I suppose there was some sort of rule against what I was doing up there. Deepest apologies, but sometimes there's a shot you just cannot pass up. An accomplished photographer, Kasha Belford won the Fendler Prize, the highest honor in journalism, for her work covering plague outbreaks and riots in the capital. Ooh, maybe she's got some doctoring experience, but she has covered some tough stuff. It came as a surprise to many that such a reputable journalist would take such an interest in this expedition. There was scarcely any chance of Hunt or the benefactor turning her away. We expected someone of her accolades to be older, more experienced. This is likely her first time on the sea like this. Her proof is all we have? I suppose we need her, so from a glory perspective, we need her. I don't want to yell at her. Essentially, from what she was doing, it's if you get yourself killed, you're messing it up for the rest of us, so don't do it. And you're also getting yourself killed. I'm not going to take care of your, broken neck. It's going to be your own dang fault. So it's not that I'm fighting her for the rules, but I care about the glory. Her proof is all we have. Unless we devise a way to bring the Viscount back with us, her proof is all we have. The cold game. Picture that as a header. What? For the piece on this voyage, I'm trying to come up with a snappy name. Nobody will read it if the title sounds like the work of an amateur. This isn't a game. An expedition like this isn't light business. Kasha nods eagerly, but you can tell she's not really listening. All right, of course. It is thrilling, though, isn't it? I suppose someone of your experience finds it all boring at this point. A trip to the ice may seem dull compared to the Royal Admiralty. I'm not adverse to thrills. But also, she knows who I am. Both interesting. Well, I hope we have some coming this way. I'm hoping to capture something right out of Kurt Darling's old escapades. That reminds me, he'll be joining us at the next port. Not more people. I should get his picture at some point. Katja holds up her camera with a sense of pride before holding it up to her face. Stand still, Shaw. Tongue sticking out. Ah. Captain sent me to grab a copy of the manifest. Am I expecting her to have it? Oh, yes. I'm putting together a manifest of the crew for you. She hands you an annotated document. Here it is, the crew manifest. Oh, new interface, and I'm in the way again. Pauses every time I click out, so sorry about that. And then let's switch back over. There we go. So, Smurf Sanders. Oh, and it's also giving us their background. How do I... there we go. It's a work in progress, so I can open and close it with that. Check it out in a moment. The scout team are to join us at the next port, and the captain's forbidden me from the boiler room. If you could ask the others to get their portraits taken, I'd be very grateful. Don't want to leave anyone out. That third one is more than I want to say. I want to reprimand her, but not like that. I'm not going to threaten to remove the camera. Thank you, Kasha. She smiles. I'll not disturb you of your work any further, officer. I have a few more shots I want to get before the sun lowers anyhow. Safe shots, officer. Don't worry. Leave her to her work. Okay, back to the ship menu. 2 Johns. Well, let's look at who we've met so far. So, right, we've got their background traits, I suppose. Can't really click on them, but if I go around, I can... mousing over doesn't give me any info. But he's a stowaway sailor, Saltborn. Smurf. He's ice savvy. So is Corvid. And it's Jojo. Joseph Joe Gren. Oh, I see sailors. So they're in different categories. We haven't met any scouts yet. I assume that's not the dogs. There's 2 engineers, 3 scientists, 9 specialists, including the captain. I guess I'm not on this somewhere, or is that... Oh, that's us, and they've just... Our face wasn't scratched out properly. There's our photographer, also landborn. Science officer, landborn. And there's the captain. Ice savvy, he's a muttwash as well. Resource cards. Key items. Grimley's accordion. And Kasha's camera. Story items. Don't think we've run across those yet. Let's talk to 2 Johns. You spot a large man with a youthful gait carrying a heavy crate over his shoulder with relative ease. 2 Johns is strong. Oof. Looks strong. Oh, you're Officer Shaw. He gives a bright, warming smile. 2 Johns. That's what they call me. I'm sure you'll get your nickname later. 2 Johns attempts to offer a handshake but loses control of the crate. He struggles before firmly holding it in place with both hands. Maybe later. Work awaits. So we've found him and now he's added. So we need to find everyone and add them in. Let's see, is the forecastle still locked? Nope, still locked. The kennel master is preparing the room. So that's where we're going to find the dogs. Okay, so is this the midships or the upper deck? So this isn't the mid deck and above deck, but what deck are we on? So there's a chess table up there, so it looks like a relaxing area over in the front. We've got individual cabins, it looks like, or maybe group cabins, but nothing available on this deck to check out yet. Here's the mid-deck. So looks like this is where we're going to find a lot of the crew. We can't go down any further from right here, though I see a ladder. And no, I don't see any more other trips down. Whoa, went farther. So we got 2 people we can talk to. Oh, the accordionist. Well, we found his accordion. One of the crew, a red-headed man with a thick beard, sits proud playing on an ivory accordion. He spots you and seizes in his playing. Need something? Let's see, who are you? I was just looking for the Stoke brothers. Emergency? Just a meeting with Hunt. You're speaking to one of them. Grimly Stoke. Ah, Grimly. We'll head up after dinner. You can go now. The man gestures to the cook across the room before resuming his playing. So, man of few words? Well, he gestured us to the crew, but we can't do anything besides call the crew for dinner right now, so... Dinner! Nom, nom, nom. Oh, the crew have their meal. It passes in relative silence. Oop, I'm in front of that. I'll just have to keep popping around. Maybe I'll go like right in the middle and shrink it down a bit. The crew return to their posts. The hammocks are unfurled in preparation for the evening. Twilight falls. Yeah, the ring here sort of rotated around, but I was in the way. Oh, the hammocks are up now. Yep. Ah, here's the stowaway here. The dinner table. Over dinner, you overhear the newly picked up stowaway speaking with a one-armed man. But Da, grunts Da, your lucky Hunt didn't throw you overboard. Half a mind to do that myself. Come on, Da. I'm here to help. Better know that involves work. Don't expect special treatment. I won't. You're an impossible child, Timmy. So Timmy the Runt. Now we've got Doug Ward. Doug Runt's Da Ward. And he's one-armed man. That's interesting. Oh, the red-haired guy disappeared. He's not hidden behind something else. That's the kitchen right there. Okay, this is called the top deck. Oh, we've got another person we haven't... Oh, our cabin. Our cabin's right there. Let's talk to this guy. He's got some glasses. You spot one of Templeton's science team pacing around the middeck, searching through some luggage that has been pulled from a cabin. Let me look in the light. Where was it now? Mr. Gloss. Officer Shaw, correct? Dwight Glossley. Apologies, I seem to have misplaced something while settling in the cabin. A bottle of wine, actually. I don't want to blame the sailors. Can't be hard to miss, but... Well, I'm not going to tell him that the sailors took it, but that's probably what happened. I would hope so. My wife and I brought a bottle to celebrate with. To be saved for the journey back, of course. Well, if you find it, please let me know. Oh, his text box was blue. And his wife, perhaps, is another member of the science team? Let's check out our cabin. Hey. We can open our journal. It doesn't say that that's going to, like, close anything. Okay, nothing new, but we can look at our journal again at any point. There's our coat. Our flag. In fact, that looks like the Landborn flag. I imagine our room would be decorated differently if it was something else. Okay, nothing else we can interact with here. Let's see, Templeton, the ocean. As you look over the railing, a wisp of smoke flies past your face. Spot a sailor with a pipe in his mouth and a sheet of paper in his hand, overlooking the stirring waters. That's quite a look. Looking at something? I don't want to bum tobacco off him. And I don't want to insult him. Maybe it's a compliment back in those days. Who are you? Tashi. Tashi station? Is this Tashi's station? Trying to draw conversation from him may be similar to extracting teeth. Ah, Vern Sheridan, aka Tashi. Let's talk to Templeton. Looking out into the sunset, as you approach, he turns to you and nods. Ah, Officer Shaw. It'll be some time before we see a sunset such as this again. The light distribution towards the southern pole is quite the change. It'll be quite some time. Sentimental? I noticed you weren't at dinner with the others. I prefer to eat in solitude. I have my own cabin, and I make use of it. He keeps his focus on the reflection of the setting sun over the stirring waters of the ocean. There is great expectation upon us, officer. From who? Who is this benefactor of ours? That is not for you to know. Not yet. He looks down, catching his reflection in the ocean surface. He looks back up at the sunset. Quite the sight, but I wouldn't linger upon it too long. We should retire for the evening. It's important the first officer be well rested. Okay. It won't even let me do anything else. Well, I think this is a good spot to stop the first episode. We've met a good portion of the crew, are learning at least the basics of this. I was ready to go, but the save system is based on the week, so I have to start the next week before it will save. So let's get one last thing in here. Okay. I mean, is that literally half of our fuel in the first week? Because it said we could go for 6 months. And a summary. The ship made its port at Orca Island. We picked up the sled dogs. The scouting crew and Kurt Darling are picked up, and the days are getting brighter. Let's see, we haven't met Kurt Darling yet. Week 2. 2 weeks on the Temperance after the first month. Okay, now that we've started the second week, we'll be able to do a save. So we've met a lot of these people. We're about to meet Kurt. There's still a lot more people to learn and a lot more ship's duties, but we're starting to get the hang of this. Hopefully this will be an exciting adventure. So, we'll meet more people, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.